Welcome back, everybody, to Weekly Wine Comic Time. I'm your host, Niko.
And I'm Christine.
And this is episode 36, I believe.
We're hoping.
Yeah, and we're, apologies for posting this a little later than usual this week. But as you guys well know by this point, if you live in the world...
You are on planet Earth.
Yeah, we're kind of dealing with a pandemic currently with the COVID-19 or coronavirus, or as Trump calls it, the Chinese virus. But yeah, stay safe out there, guys. We just wanted to kind of say that at the top of the show here. We've been busy with kind of,
everything going on.
Yeah,
it's affecting everybody in different ways.
Not to get into what we do, but essentially we're still part of the essential services being provided out there for you guys. So
yes, we are thankful that we still have jobs, but it's fucking ridiculous. Let's just go there.
Yeah, but that's why we've just been busy dealing with other things this week instead of being in isolation, like a lot of you guys have been self-isolating or in quarantine.
Which,
and all
thank
that.
you.
So thank you for that.
It is helpful.
Yeah. So. But yeah, just want to let you guys know, stay safe out there. You can still expect us to be bringing out content week to week like we normally do. Just this week, we're just a little late to delivering that to you.
Yeah, we're late this week, and then next week I think we're going to be regular, and then after that it just depends on how everything goes.
Yeah, so a lot of comic book stores out there, guys, they are closing down as a result of this because, to keep people off the streets and from large crowds and stuff like that.
But there are comic book stores that are doing things for their regular comic buyers. So you can still pre-order and you can pick up.
Yeah, there's a lot of people out there that are doing curbside pickup type stuff or delivery. So support your local comic book stores in their time of need during this period of time because the comic book industry... the way comic books get made, those artists and writers are still going to be indoors anyways, as normally they are, right? So they're going to be out there still making that product and churning out those comics for you. As far as we know, there's going to be no delay in actually sending out the new comics to comic book stores.
We
but
haven't
it's just
heard anything different.
Right. It's really just about the comic book stores being able to provide those comics to you guys or not. So we are in the position where our store does not have an online option. So and I know some of you out there, you could also read digitally. We've chose not to do that. Instead, for you guys, we might be teaming up and doing some kind of thing similar to what we do over, what I do over on Trade Talk is I talk about books that I've read, like actual collected edition trade paperbacks of comics. Yeah. So me and Christine, we might do something like that and actually, talk about some stuff together, some of the books that we've been reading as opposed to new single issues. So you got this week's and then next week, and then after that, we don't know what's going to be happening moving forward in terms of our new weekly releases, right?
We could do a couples trade talk, or we could do like something that's going on, or what we've kept busy with doing during like quarantine times.
We'll figure something out. We'll figure something out. I just want to let you guys know we'll still be putting stuff out for you guys to enjoy during this period of time, and there's lots of things to listen to and do out there, guys. So I know if some of you guys might be stuck indoors already at this point, but
try to stay positive, try to keep busy, keep to a schedule.
Yeah, exactly.
Mental health is a big thing.
Just be kind to one another and don't go crazy out there, right?
Don't be an asshole.
Don't buy up all the toilet paper. But yeah, so just stay safe and like I said previously, we'll still be bringing stuff out. So in some form or another, you'll be hearing from us. Okay, so let's get into it this week. First off, though, before we get to that, let's talk about what we drank while reading our comics. Not actually prior to recording. Today, we actually just had some beers and some whiskey right now. But what we actually drank while we read just earlier this in the week is Apothic Red. It's 2017 California winemaker's blend. It's kind of actually like that's what it says on here, but it's got some of these blends including Zinfandel, Cabernet, Sauvignon, Syrah, which I've never fucking heard of that, and Merlot. Apparently that's all. And I was about to say, and it does actually say on the back of the bottle here that all those that blend creates a dark red, which it is. This is actually a very dark tasting red. It's very tasty. We've had it before, but it's been a while. This is like normally like an $18 bottle of wine. I think it was like $2 or $3 off. So it was like,
splurged.
Yeah, $15 to $16 is a splurge at this point.
Thank God for the LCBO being open still. By the way,
our liquor stores in Canada are still open. Yeah, I don't know how
government
you guys
run, FYI,
are doing around the world. So they've been deemed as an essential service right now. People need to drink, right? Yeah, that's right. People need to drink in these times of need,
That's what's
right?
keeping people. Ooh, and I have one other disclaimer. If I'm coughing or if I'm wheezy, Niko set me off into a full-blown allergy asthma attack right before recording.
I sprayed some Lysol in the room, guys. Yeah, I knocked over a drink, caused a little bit of smell of whiskey on the table, so I sprayed Lysol, which actually caused an even worse reaction. So if she sounds a little wheezy, it's not her fault today, guys. And she doesn't got coronavirus either.
No
so,
corona here.
As far as we know. So
well, fingers crossed. Who knows at this point?
All right, though, let's get into the comics then. I'm sure these guys are tired of us hearing this a much longer
I know, this is a 7
intro
minute
than
intro.
usual. Yeah, a lot of things to cover, though. A lot of things going on in the world, right? So we hope that everyone's staying safe out there. Let's get this off our plates now because I have a feeling like we could talk either a very short time period on this book or it could take us a while.
I also, from the cover, I thought this was an X-Men book. I'm going to start by saying that.
Yeah, you can't be blamed on that one, actually. This is, of course, Decorum #1 through Image Comics. This is written by Jonathan Hickman, art by Mike Huddleston. And this is a new Hickman book, so I was very excited to pick this up. This book made me feel dumb right out the gate. I'm just going to say that.
Why?
It was... And I know that this is to be expected from Hickman at this point with all the infographics and all the info dumps at the start of the book, and he's trying to set up the world and he's trying to fucking lay everything out. By the time I got to the end of this issue, I was like, okay, the second half of this book, some really cool stuff happened. I didn't know if I should read it in trade. I'm like, that was a lot to take in. I think I need to read it again, and I think I still will before the next issue. And then I'm like, you know what? I felt this way at the beginning of East to West, and that went very well after the fact because it seems like, I don't know, there's a lot. There's a lot there at the start. I mean, look at this. Like, there's maps, there's fucking descriptions of these.
He sets up a world. Like, when he goes, he goes.
Right. And I think, like, the night of us reading this, we were trying to get this episode out earlier than expected. So maybe I wouldn't say I tried to rush through this, but I didn't give it the time it deserved in that sense. So my rating's going to be there's going to be an asterisk beside it because I don't want to make it, I want to make it very clear. It's not that it was bad. Yeah, I don't want to say it was bad by any means, but like my ratings impacted as a result of my enjoyment of the book,
like a good wine.
Yeah.
It gets better with age.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, I don't know what the fuck is going on here. Maybe you can explain it for me. I don't even know where to start with this book, honestly. By the end of
Start halfway through.
Okay. So the second half there's like a woman that was tasked to go and deliver an object which she doesn't know to somebody else, like almost like a courier service of sorts, but the box itself was like got like some crazy security like features to it where like the person actually has to physically open it themselves, like through like I guess like their prints or something.
Very extreme.
Right. That plus some other things that I'm forgetting, like that they had to basically do to be able to receive the package.
Well, they had their fingerprints and shit like had to match whatever, like it had to be the person that it was delivered to had to
Here
match.
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it says courier box, class 5. Our highest security enclosure ensured to micro singularity collapse upon unauthorized breaching or credit back guaranteed. So even if somebody else got it in their hands, it would just basically like
Disintegrate.
Yeah. So constructed of neutron polymers and sealed by heavy atomic bonding. So that it says featuring authorization window, palm print identification, retina confirmation, and genetic confirmation.
Yeah.
So it's based on like DNA, retina scan,
And your
handprint.
palm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So meanwhile, there's another woman who's like, I don't know if she's like a hit woman of some sort. She's beefing it out with this other fucking guy who I guess has a problem with something she did or did not do. From what I can recall, she's not having it. This courier shows up in the middle of this fight inside the box. You know, unbeknownst to everybody, there's a fucking like some sort of a crystal weapon that fucking shoots lasers and shit out of it and kills the guy. Like she basically, the courier was delivering it to the woman that was like the hit woman here, and inside that box, I guess she had planned for this. Yeah, and she even gave her shit because she came a minute too late, and during that period of time, she had to actually go back and forth with this guy. You know what I mean?
Had some dialogue.
Right. And Hickman, this is where it was like, okay. By the point this second half ran around and we got to this point and we're just like, okay, I was like, this feels very Hickman like. The dialogue's on point. These are some like, cool bad guys, cool conflict going on between these two. I can get into this by the end of it, right? And it kind of like at the end, like it left like the courier. She's just like, you know, so what are we going to do with you now? Like she basically just turns to her and like
basically you're like a loose end at this point,
right? So that was the second half of the book. But then the first half was more like establishing the world and the people and the conflicts going on internally in the world right now. So like it was almost like a east to west kind of a couple of different factions of different civilizations in this futuristic setting or at war with each other.
Yeah, again, very similar to East to West.
Right.
It's like a futuristic end of the world, apocalyptic.
Yeah.
But not a Western.
You're right. Yeah. It was more like I don't know, but they had Native Indians, it seemed like, and there was like a Christopher Columbus type fucking people, like actually. So it felt like very New World, like old type of story being told,
New
but
old
it was
world.
Right. So I don't know. And anyways, and then there's the art, Mike Huddleston. I've seen him on a couple of other books before. I'm not like a hugest fan of his, but he mashes up a lot of fucking different styles. Some I like, some I don't. But
I think it'll work better when we get farther into the book, and
Right.
it'll differ. Like, and I almost think there's like aliens involved. Like a couple of different things look kind of like alien-like at the beginning. Like they're very just like dark figured. I don't know if they're from, like, I guess what we would call Earth. I don't know if that's what we're on in this book, but...
No, I don't think so.
Well, like the Earth-like world.
Right. Yeah, I don't know.
Decorum. Let's go with that.
Because once you get to the maps area, it says like
Different
galactic
sections.
sectors, pyramid locations, sector details, planet data. Like there's
But again, I think it's one world.
there's
so it's
pyramids all over the world. We know that.
Yeah.
Like, and then there's
But we don't have a lot of information yet. We have
I
layouts.
don't know.
No, we have layouts, but not like
he hasn't
actual...
fleshed anything
Yes.
out. Yeah, he hasn't fleshed anything.
We
out.
don't know what
So-
any of the shit means yet.
Anyways, I like some of his styles. He's like very like one of those like art school fucking like artsy fartsy kind of seems like
What's the
stylistic
guy's
kind of
name
approach.
that I always forget?
Well, to me, he
Nick
kind of reminds
something.
who?
What's that artist that I always forget his name of?
I'm not sure.
It's the one that did. Fuck, I'm the worst at this.
He reminds me of like that Kabuki book I was showing you the other day,
Okay.
David Mack. Like he's
Yeah.
got like a painterly style in some senses, but then sometimes he's just playing with ink. Sometimes he's playing with it looks like digital stuff. You know, the deconstruction of like art, like you know what I mean. Like like he puts like barely anything on the page and still somehow puts images together, but then other ones are fully fleshed out and painted and fucking like. I don't know. I don't know how to describe it
very
other than that.
different.
It's very mixed media. There's
I
a
have
lot of
one
different
specific
things.
person in my head that I can't think
Bill
of.
Sienkiewicz?
No.
Okay. I mean, I would
wanna
say he's
his name
definitely
is,
in
like,
that school
Nick,
too.
Nick something.
I don't know. I can't help you with that, but like
Sorry.
you let us know if you remember.
Yeah.
But yeah, I gave this a 3.5. I'm thinking we're gonna stick with it. I believe, right? I mean, we're
I
not
think so.
dropping it,
I want
right?
to. I'm intrigued by it.
I mean, Hickman's got enough, you know what I mean, rope for me right now. Like, I'll give him enough of a chance to kind of rope me in at this point, you know. So,
For sure.
I'm gonna stick with it for now. But it was very dense. It was very
it's
hard to get into.
It's a lot of information at once, which again Hickman does a lot of.
Yeah.
Well, fuck! Look at the actual X-Men. That was insane when he started.
Yes, but by the end of that,
But you were familiar with the characters, so it
Right.
helped a little bit.
right?
But
Yeah.
and again, East to West was fucking insane at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
I gave this a 4, at least.
Yeah.
Potential 4.5.
Okay.
I quite liked it. Again, like the beginning part of it was jarring because you did start off with like a Indian, I wouldn't say cowboy, but like I guess cowboy Indian, and then there's these weird geometric, what I interpreted as like alien type figures that also look like they controlled this weaponized.
Or is that a pyramid?
Gem.
That might be one of the pyramids. That
Maybe
he's
that's what
referencing.
that's calling a pyramid.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're calling a pyramid.
Right.
If it's like our type of Egypt pyramid or like
Yeah. Right.
this jewel pyramid.
Some futuristic crystallized kind of
like that's
structure.
where I don't quite know
Right.
where we're going with this, but
That's what I mean. It's hard to critique at this point, just because like it's got me interested, and it's
I'm
not
very
bad.
interested.
It's just like I just need a little bit more. I think in
It's
that
a
sense.
lot.
Yeah.
That's what it really is.
Yeah.
But yeah, like again, he has his maps, which at this point look cool, but don't do a lot for me because I'm not familiar with the world yet. You do have a lot of kind of info dumps where they go into like paragraphs about things, which again, you're not familiar with. So it's kind of like reading gibberish, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're reading, you're understanding it, but you don't know what it means yet.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. And then
To
like,
me, anyways. I get where you're coming from.
but then yes, by chapter 3, which is halfway through, you're getting I feel like it's going to be the main kind of storyline. I feel like these are more of the characters that you're gonna
Which I'm fine with,
follow.
because that was my favorite part of the issue. It's just I can't fucking give it more than what I give it, in my opinion, just because that first half was like a real info dump, and like I was just not interested in what was going on there. It
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like it was a lot of work to get through that, and yeah,
That's fair.
Yeah, so
well, you didn't have any characters to connect with yet. So
Right.
the second half we did characters to
right,
connect.
right. That's what kind of made me want to look forward to the next issue. Was only this scenario.
Yeah, like I'm really intrigued by this assassin
Yes.
chick
Yes.
with like this crazy collar. Like her outfit is bomb.
I just hope he sticks with it. Like, I don't know, I don't know about the turnaround time for this artist. I just think that, like, there's been a couple other failed books that he, through Image,
Hickman,
he
you
just...
mean?
Yes,
Yeah.
It failed not in the sense that they were bad, but just he
But just, like,
hasn't ended
abandoned,
them.
yeah.
So like it happened with Manhattan Projects. It happened with
that's right.
happened with Secret ended, but it took a long fucking time. There's another one called The Dying and the Dead that he brought out like 5 issues.
yeah.
Yes, that was good. Again,
Fuck, I forgot about that.
again, same thing. Seems like he has a lot of issues with
He has
that
a lot
artist
of
though.
things, and then that's
I don't
true.
know if it's him only sometimes, because sometimes that artist he's worked on 2 things with, and one fucking took forever to finish.
Yeah.
One, that one's, I don't know what
Still
happened with that.
hasn't
It's
done
abandoned. And then he did Black Monday Murders, which
Yeah.
apparently it's coming back, but I don't know when that's happening. Right. So I don't know. It seems like East of West is the only thing he actually saw
Stuck
through after his initial
Maybe him and Dragata just need
miniseries
to
from
do
back
another
in the
thing.
day. Well, even I mean, we've spoken to Dragata in person.
No,
I think
I
he
know.
was trying to say it was mostly him who was taking a while on
Yeah.
that script, right? So
He was ready to go.
yeah. Anyways,
But from the cover alone, the fact that you have like the assassin chick that's all in black, you have the younger girl that was your delivery, like a parcel delivery girl, and then you have like some aliens and some robots. Like I feel like this is gonna be like a really neat futuristic book. I'm excited.
yeah.
I'm intrigued. I gave this a 4 to 4.5. I like, again, I want to kind of reread it.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to judge.
Look forward to what we have to say about the second issue, because that's going to be...
kind of the staple. So the next one or the first one I have, actually, is The Flash. This is issue number 751. So I know we were kind of hurting on this for a little while.
Yeah, but then...
The last 2 issues leading up to this one were pretty freaking good.
I was about to say...
They hit their stride again. This fucking book has been doing this to us for so long now.
And I don't think we've talked about the issues leading into issue 700 or whatever it was, like the one... Or 750. 750. Because but it just jumped ahead. It was, remember, it was like 80 or 90 something. And then, but we talked about 750 on last episode. Behind. And we didn't talk about the 2 that were leading into that. No. We didn't get a chance. But yeah, I think the last few issues have been pretty solid. Yeah.
Yeah, like they picked up their stride again. Like at first we were kind of talking and we're like, should we drop it? Is it something that we want to continue? We've worked so hard to like read this much.
Well, fucking, we were like 80 something issues in, right? So
but then it fucking hit its stride again. So this one I gotta say though, not a lot happened.
Yeah.
It was good. Not a lot happened.
Yeah.
Like, the story did not progress in this. You got more Godspeed with the Flash dialogue and then a lot of paradox, but it's basically just a fight. This is a fight scene book issue, I guess, which was good. It was necessary, I think, because this is where we were all headed like for so long. The art was really good. I really, really like the artist on this issue. Is it the same artist that's been doing it for a while?
Which one was this?
I guess I haven't said
who
wrote or drew this.
That would help.
This is written by Joshua Williamson, art by Christian Deuce.
Yeah, he's been one of the revolving artists on this, yes.
Okay, I don't think I've seen him, or I don't recall saying his name in a long time.
It's probably been a while since he did an issue, yeah.
I like his art for this. This issue looked really good. I do like the character of Godspeed, so that's always fun when he shows up. But for the fact that this really didn't move the story along very much, I'd give this a 3.5. But the ending was intriguing. Like, the ending ends with the Flash. I don't know if he's in the past, if he's in a different dimension. Who the fuck knows? It's the Flash.
They kind of alluded that he went to some sort of heaven of some sort. Like, he got killed, apparently, and then at the end he saw his mom was dead. Don't know, so,
because it could be... And he's dealing with a paradox, right? Like... The guy's name is Paradox.
Yeah, exactly.
So you have no fucking idea where he is.
No, I just thought that the way they alluded to it. It does look like a
heaven-esque place.
That's why his mom's dead. He saw her at the end. I think that's what they were alluding to, but I doubt that's the case, of course. But I also gave this 3.5. I don't really got much to add other than what you had mentioned, but other than the fact that it has been better lately. But yeah, this one was just
it moved it along. It's still, where we needed to be.
Yeah, still good, but it's kind of like, the last 3 issues built it up to a really good spot, and now it's just kind of chugging along like usual, right? And that's kind of
this was literally just a fight.
It's literally up and down like that usually this series, but it's never been like really bad.
It's never been bad. It's been good, and some have been better.
Yeah,
but. Yeah, like it's predominantly good.
Right. All right, so next up we got Thor number 4. This is written by Donny Cates, art by Nick Klein, Matt Wilson on colors. Now this one, talking about pacing, this one did this was also a weird kind of issue for that because, we've had this buildup of Thor now being working for Galactus and being his herald and having to go to all these planets, and basically he's been trying to evacuate all the people that live on that planet, and people have issues, like his own people and Asgard have an issue with him helping out Galactus, and they're destroying these planets, these 5 planets, so he can get all the power to actually take on this black what the hell they call it, whatever this crazy thing is that's coming to Black Death or whatever essentially that's coming to kill them. He's been absorbing it. The Black Winter. There you go. Yeah.
Winter is coming.
Yeah. So, but then in this, it's just like something happened. Like after the last altercation of him throwing down with, what's his name? I'm fucking blanking on his name here now.
Galactus?
Not Galactus. The horse fucking, my boy.
Oh, Billy.
Yeah. Beta Ray Bill.
Beta Ray.
After throwing down with him last issue was my favorite of the week. Lady Sif shows up and kind of gives him some shit as well about the situation at hand right now. And they're like, okay, yeah, you'll see us at home, you'll figure it out, kind of thing. And he's like, don't worry, like. And we know you have a lot on your shoulders right now with your new responsibilities, but so he kind of reassures them, don't worry, I got this under control. And then his hammer, like, it gets thrown off, and it ends up going to Loki, and Loki actually lifts the fucking hammer. So they're like,
does he though?
He does. I get what you're saying, because he called the hammer to him right after, and that sometimes gets mistaken for somebody lifting him. No, but there is a whole part where he's sitting there on the panel, and he lifts it, and they're talking about it. We up to this point, we've already been talking about how he's weaker. He's not. He's losing the worthiness slowly.
It was a weird.
You're right.
It's meant to.
Yeah, it might be
make you disbelieve.
Right. Yeah, it may be a red herring where they're like, "Oh, look, Loki can lift it now," right? Like, so it might just be trying to fuck with us, but who knows?
Could it move along in the
But Donny
story?
Cates, of course, wrote Loki in his Doctor Strange run, so it was interesting to see him again, like, involved in this kind of grand scheme of thing, right? Yeah. So then, but when it came back, he fucking fired back at Galactus. And they've been kind of beefing back and forth at this point. But then from there, they speed up the process, and then they talk about how they went to 3 other planets after this first one within like a double-page spread.
Yes.
And then I was just like, okay, I didn't know whether or not I liked that choice, because and then I decided by the end of it I did, because so many of these books with these type of setups where you're like, you're gonna have to face 5 people, they draw it out so fucking long.
You sit there and you're like,
right.
Like, I'm done.
Right. I mean, even the Flash that we just talked about did that shit before with their like the different fucking speed forces. Yes. You know what I mean? Like, okay, we get it. We fucking get it. There's a bunch of different. You can sum this up very well in a few pages, right? And that's what they did. Like, that's what Donny Cates chose to do.
Amazing.
Oh, wow, yeah. Nick Klein, the art on this, he's killing on this fucking book. But so at first I didn't know how to feel about that, but then by the end of the issue, you're dealing with his 5th and final planet that he basically had to consume in order to get this power, and then at the end, the Black Winter is basically there, and they're about to fucking throw down and see what happens here. So I gave it a 4. Just because I felt the pacing to me was a little off at first. I did like the choice. I did ultimately decide that I liked what he did, where he kind of covered it, but
it was different to read.
Yeah, so I just the reading experience I got from it, I'm like, yeah, it's a real solid issue. The art was good, but yeah, it's really the next issue. Yeah, exactly. Really yeah, so I gave it a 4.
Hit home. Yeah, I agree with you. I gave this a 4 as well. I felt the same while reading this. I think this was my last book of reading.
Okay.
Of that night, so I was really tired as well.
Right.
But it didn't hinder my understanding. It didn't hinder my enjoyment of it. I just think that it was a book that was a good lead into the next issue.
Yeah.
Like the next issue, I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah, I think this is just one of probably the lower rated ones I've given this run so far, because like everything else has been
everything else has been like a 5 for you.
I've been loving it so far. I mean, this is no exception though. I just think it's just like build up. This was just kind of moving things along, right? So then it was just.
Sorry to cut you off.
Yeah, go ahead.
The one thing I remember reading this, when you hit the page with the triple panels where he's destroying 3 worlds in one.
Yeah.
I completely forgot about the world that we just destroyed.
Yes.
And I was like, but he only destroyed 4.
Right.
What the fuck? That was leading into it, and I got myself all confused.
Yeah, no.
But that was my own
Your
tired
fault. Yeah.
but yeah, I gave this a 4. It was a solid issue.
Nice.
So the next one I have here is Venom issue number 24, written by Donny Cates. Oh, again. Sorry, back to back.
It's a lot of books right now for Marvel.
He's like contending with Jeff Lemire here.
No.
Penciler is Mark Bagley.
Yeah.
Bagley. So this one, I thought it was an okay issue. Basically, you have Venom,
Eddie Brock.
Eddie Brock, yeah. He's in the hospital. He's talking about how he lost his hand, and he's going through the whole phantom limb.
Yes.
Kind of debacle. Captain America's with him.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got to like some crazy scenes with what the fuck's his name?
No, the
yes.
symbiote god, which you find out is just some sort of nightmare that he's having. The whole first half of the issue is him just basically
Yeah, he's like tripping balls basically.
because he's still on the island and Carnage is taking over his body now.
Yeah. I was getting there.
Yeah, I'm just
you
helping you out.
It along.
Yeah.
But yeah, so basically like the first half of the issue, you're like, all right, something different's going on. And then you're like, nope, we're still on a fucking island. And like you said, Carnage is there. And then you find out that his son is able to connect mentally through this weird, I don't know
crazy.
what the fuck
he's able to control the symbiote
remotely,
like, like with his mind. And tap into, essentially, he connected with the Venom symbiote that's normally on Eddie, like his partner.
The black symbiote,
yeah, well, that we all know. He's able to connect with him, and the coolest part about it is if he's not actually
inside of it, he doesn't have to morph into a human body.
Yeah.
So he fucking morphs into fucking T-Rex.
Yeah, at the end.
That was that's the only reason why I gave this a 4. Because other than that, it would have been like a 3.5. Right. But that fucking T-Rex at the end.
Yeah.
4.
Interesting. I absolutely love this issue.
Did you?
I give this a 5.
Wow.
This was a home run for me. Honestly, the lead in the last couple issues to this Venom Island thing were good, but this was my favorite issue by far. One, for that reason that you mentioned at the end, and also I thought this is some of the best Mark Bagley I've seen in some time. Oh, the art was
great.
I was about to say, like, because he just did Spider-Man Life Story, and that was fine. But this issue, he knocked this issue out of the park.
You really get to do some shit with it.
Yeah, I mean, listen, this is a guy that's been drawing Carnage and Venom and stuff since the 90s, right? So like,
he really gets to go free.
Yeah, like I just like the whole this double page spread where he showed Null and it's like a fucking nightmare escape like outside the fucking window of like everything's burning and fucking that was nuts. I liked the whole idea of the Phantom Limb thing. I liked the whole idea of him still being on the island, and the reveal of him being able to remotely turn the symbiote into anything he wants. Well, the symbiote basically taking control of that, but for him to like help him like get up and move and become like something like.
Well, I think he has to imagine him being something.
Okay, yeah.
From what I know, because before that he's just like a blob floating
around.
That's
true. So. That's true. Yeah, it was great. Yeah, so I gave it a 5. I really enjoyed it.
Nice.
Yeah. Next up, we got Avengers of the Wasteland #3, written by Ed Brisson, art by Jonas Scharf. I've been really enjoying this series so far. Again, likewise, like I think that. Not likewise, sorry, no, it's something I've been mentioning a lot on this show, just about these kind of like Elseworlds, like what if kind of like alternate takes on comic book characters that we're already familiar with. I do really enjoy that.
Yeah.
And so I've been thoroughly enjoying this series so far. This issue, though, however, I gave a 4. I think that out of all 3 issues so far, this was probably the weakest in the sense that there was no new introduction of characters in this. The story progression was not bad. It just, I think the least kind of new revelations and introductions to the characters happen in this issue. So I think that in that sense, it just wasn't as exciting or fun as the first 2 issues for me, because we're being at this point. And I will say, that's also, I'm taking a point off for the fact that this team feels so forced still. Like it was just like
they don't flow very well.
It's just one of those things where like, okay, now that you guys are all together, like you don't need to snap into some sort of like they're like, remember guys, we're the Avengers now. I'm like, no, you're not. You're fucking a bunch of rando
false
people.
Avengers that have like their suits randomly.
Right. Like I get it. They're trying to like motivate each other and stuff, like to step up, and like it's them against the bad guys now. But I was just like,
positive.
I just thought it was a weird choice for Brisson to make. Like I'm like, no, I'm like, just keep it as to a bunch of random people that by the end of the series you can be like, well, maybe we should stick as a team now. You know what I mean? Like if they overcome the bad guy, be like, we're the Avengers now. You know what I mean? Like at this point, I think they should. It was too quick for them to be like that. I will say I love the ongoing issue though with this Captain America being violent and being fucked up, like and being and working for fucking Doom at one point in the past, right? So they don't know whether or not to trust him.
Yeah.
And Viv is really cool. I liked how she gave him his actual shield, like Captain America's actual shield. Yeah. So I gave it a 4. I thought it was a good issue, again, solid. Just like I had a couple issues with it though, and it just wasn't as exciting as the first 2, I felt.
Yeah, I agree with you actually. I gave this a 4 as well when I was reading it.
Art's good still.
Yeah, I do like the art. But yeah, like my favorite part was Viv. I love Viv. She's so cool, and the fact that she's the one that had the vibranium shield,
Yeah.
and how she said, they had a whole museum basically, but that was the only thing that she could take at the time. I really thought that was a neat little touch. So yeah, I gave this a 4. I'm intrigued at where this is going though.
Yes.
Very intrigued by the ending.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. The next up.
Corona.
Shut up. I wish I had a corona with Lyme disease. Fuck, that meme was so stupid, but so good. The next one I have here is The Amazing Spider-Man, issue number 41. This is by, I should know this by now, Nick Spencer, and Ryan Otley is actually on art again.
He's only wrote 40 issues of
Whatever.
it.
I suck at names. I'm the worst at names.
Yes.
This was a lot of fun. This was literally like,
I was like, where are you going with this?
you're like, you better fucking do this right. The fact that Boomerang and Spider-Man are teaming up in this, like, legitimately,
yes,
is so good. And literally, like, the entire issue is basically them talking about how they're teaming up.
Yeah.
Which was like, they're doing things, but in the actual narrative, they're just like, yeah, we're teaming up here.
Yeah.
We did this, and this is going on.
The best bro team up ever.
Yeah. And then Kingpin actually looks like old school kind of Kingpin.
Yeah, he's got like that fucking purple neckerchief or whatever you want to call it.
Dickie?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, like he actually looks, old school, but just no fucking neck whatsoever. Massive goddamn head. Just back to the classics here. And then there's like rat people that they're still fighting.
Well, that's an old school Spidey villain.
The rat people?
Well, not the rat people. So now basically they're taking that character and saying there's a bunch of different like
like they've multiplied essentially.
Yes.
Like they're infecting the city.
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, like I liked that whole aspect, and then even the little epilogue story was quite interesting. With, I don't know, is this an actual thing, the Lethal Legion?
I'm sure it is. I'm not as familiar with them. The petrified tablet that they talk about in this, that Kingpin is trying to get a hold of, though, that for some ridiculous reason Boomerang was entrusted with, which again, the whole idea of that,
of this is whack,
yes,
so.
Absolutely, but
which Spider-Man should be,
right. That is an actual thing though from older storylines, so that is for sure 100%. And
do we know who this guy is?
No, I don't.
Okay, so the ending is a surprise that is lost on me if it is a...
I'm sure he is. Like, it looks like just some sort of monster or demon from another dimension.
Yeah,
though, so,
okay.
Yeah.
I gave this a 5. I quite enjoyed this a lot.
Yeah, I also did. Vermin is the villain that you're talking
That's
about,
his
basically.
name,
Yeah,
yes.
very deserving name. Yeah.
Imaginative is the word I'm looking for.
Yeah, it's back but he's a villain from back in the day too. I think he was also involved around the time of like Kraven's Last Hunt storyline, which is one of the most famous.
I've heard. He was in that other little mini thing that we had read then, when he's in the park from this.
Yep.
One.
Yeah, probably because that was the Kraven's Last Hunt that he did, kind of that version of it. Yes. So now there's a bunch of rat people like him that are running around the city. Otley's back, which is fantastic. We've talked about it. I prefer Otley on this title. And yeah, it was just a lot of fun, and I love the whole Boomerang Spidey relationship. Like I like that he dips in and out of this 40 issues so far. Like they even mentioned the other times he kind of got together with him, which were all kind of like 2-3 issue arc type things, and I'm fine with that. I mean, I love the character. I love that the fact that he's established this Boomerang, this character, this version of Boomerang, all the way from his superior foes to Spider-Man days when he wasn't a big enough name to write the Spider-Man title, but now he is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I dig it a lot, and with Otley and art, it just makes a whole lot of sense. So even the cover is classic because it's got word bubbles on it, and it's them arguing about the fact of what they're going to call themselves. And then it gets to, and then it goes, and if you look at the bottom, it says it introduces the name of the arc where it says True Companions Part 1, and Spider-Man's like, "You're not helping."
Yeah.
Like, he's like like yelling at the actual like
the person who's creating the comic.
exactly.
Breaking
So
the fourth
I
world,
gave it a
yeah.
5. Yeah, fourth wall.
Fourth wall, whatever.
Yeah, you're on a roll today.
God, let me live.
X-Men number 8, written by Jonathan Hickman, art by Mahmoud Azrar, which was fucking great to see him on this book.
Yeah.
Apparently he has another one coming up in a few
does
issues
he?
as well. Yeah, I think he mentioned he's doing like this and then issue like 13 or 14. There's a bit of a gap between issues for him, but he's doing a couple of issues X-Men, and I'm fine with that. I mean, he's probably just put these out in the interim before the new Conan book he's going to be doing, right? King Conan. So
keeping the paycheck rolling.
Yeah. So this was a lot of fun, and I'll give you 2 reasons why. 1, Brew was in it, who I'm a huge fan of.
I love Brew.
2,
Not Broods.
yeah,
Just Brew.
Brew, the guy from Wolverine and the
Yeah.
X-Men, the student. And 2, because it was a story with the Brood, which
Yes.
I actually am also a fan
Yes.
of. So like that whole thing about the alien queen, or it's not even the alien queen. This is like some sort of
The Egg King
right
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
The King Egg.
Right, and but essentially, yeah, it's a king that they sought after because, and it connects to now Hickman stuff that he did over in New Mutants, this book, which we'll talk about next. Hickman, who just finished up his arc, because him and Brisson are splitting the duties on that book so far. By the end of that, they actually took this egg, and now they're back in the proper X-Men book, the New Mutants. They appeared in this issue, and they talk about how they had grabbed that egg from their adventures in the New Mutant book, which so I like how all these books are gelling together right now. If you're reading a lot of these X-Men titles, they're doing
It's
a very
really
good job of
working,
integrating everything, and I know that Hickman overseeing everything is the reason for that as well. Like he's helping out in that regard. And
I just feel like he has a big board with
absolutely.
the red twine.
Yes,
and
that's Hickman.
Mapping
Yeah,
everything out.
for sure. But yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed this one. What do I want to give it though? That's the question. I'm gonna give it a 4.5.
With Mahmoud on art?
Good point. I'm gonna give it a 5. Good point. No, it looked great. And there's Brew, and there's Broods. Anyways, the Broods attack the X-Men in this. That's essentially what happens. They come and they start a full-out attack on
it's like
them.
a horde.
Yeah, and to the point where they figure out, like, Brew lets them know, like, just get rid of this fucking egg because this is the reason why.
This is the reason why
and
they're
they teleport
here. They
the
smell
egg
it
out of
everywhere.
there,
Yeah.
and then at the end you get the whole, you get this whole setup of, what the hell is his name? The guy who's not Destroyer. I always forget his name. Basically, that big alien. He's gonna go fight Kree now. The Kree Accuser.
Oh.
Not Galactus. Gladiator. Thank you. That's his name.
Oh.
And his son, Kid Gladiator, who is
Yes.
also from Wolverine and the
Yes.
X-Men. They're out in space shooting people,
shit.
and they get word that a Kree Accuser is basically near them, so they're gonna go hunting now. So.
Yeah.
He's integrating that whole a lot of the space things that X-Men has to do with, like the Shi'ar and the Kree and the whole thing with the Phoenix Force, like I'm sure is going to come up. Like he's really, and the Starjammers, which is Cyclops' dad. Like between New Mutants and this, Hickman is the Inhumans. He's definitely taking a lot of the space aspects of the X-Men and bringing them to the forefront
which
now. It
is
seems
awesome.
like, yeah. So I'm really enjoying it. I give it a 5.
Yeah, I gave that a 5 too. I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah, it was a solid issue for sure.
Yeah. And then, like we said, The New Mutants, issue number 9 by Ed Brisson, art by Flaviano.
Yeah.
I always feel like I'm saying that wrong.
No, that's his name.
This tied into where the X-Men went. So basically, this one should have been read first, which I did, because I picked this first. Haha.
Yes, very good.
But this was fucking really cool. So basically, this issue was the New Mutants are trying to rescue a mutant in Russia. And this mutant is apparently just like fucking ridiculously crazy and is like stuck in some type of nightmare world, like in her head. So they are trying to, connect to her and bring her back. Yet 3 people have already been sucked into her.
Yeah, it's almost as if, and they haven't proclaimed as such yet because we don't know for a fact because they're trying to wrangle her at this moment, but it's almost like her powers are on some sort of like Franklin Richards Omega level type stuff.
Yeah,
going
like
on
some
here.
crazy shit.
Like she can bring them into some sort of living nightmare
yeah.
by just basically thinking on it, and what's realized in her
it's
head.
They were trying to get into her mind,
right?
And then got wrapped.
She seems like an Omega level mutant though, with the
Yeah.
powers that she's wielding and showing at
The
this
amount
point.
of people that she'd instantly just
By the
take
way,
over.
and you've said this before in the past, but Boom Boom just keeps getting better and better
I
in this
love
book.
Boom Boom. She is my favorite.
Yeah.
She is wormed her
She's
way
just like
into
the
my
very
heart.
sassy talking, fucking liquor drinking, fucking badass.
Don't
like,
give a
you know what I
shit.
mean?
She's like, well, why the fuck? Like,
yeah.
I like going to space.
Yeah.
They're like, bitch, you wouldn't get up. She's like, try harder next time.
She's
that was
great.
My favorite.
He's writing the hell out of her, and I mean,
she needs more.
Yes.
She needs more. Like, she's so good.
She's great.
But
she's my favorite standout of this book,
yeah.
though.
Yeah.
And
every time they just give you a little taste of her, and she's just so perfect.
which is good because those moments are always the best.
Yeah. And then they go to Wildside. So I know we met Wildside before, but he was gross and cutting his nasty ass toenails, which, funny enough, reminds me of you.
Well, thank you.
I give this a 5. I really liked it. These X-Men books are coming out of nowhere. Fuck.
Yeah, you're an X-Men fan now.
I know.
Yeah.
What
happened? Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I wasn't sure what I was going to give this one either, but you make a strong argument. No, you can make this. Yeah, I think I'd also got to give it a 5 because there was nothing wrong with it. Everything was great. Everything was great. It was just a very
art was really good. The cover, I don't know who did the cover, but the cover was really cool.
Isn't that Mike Del Mundo?
That's what I thought,
too.
It
must be. It must be. That looks like a Del Mundo cover.
I just forgot to check.
Let's take a look. It must be. Here, you check when I start talking about my other book here. Oh, no, it's Rod Rice, the guy who did the New Mutant last arc with Hickman.
Oh.
Yeah, who's also good and got like a style similar to...
style for that cover.
It just, the color palette looks like it. Yeah. So, yeah, very cool. But he's the one who's got like more like Sienkiewicz kind of art style. So, yeah, that makes sense because it kind of looks like that.
Fuck,
I would have said Del Mundo
it's bizarre,
first.
But I really like it.
Yeah. So... next up, we got Punisher Soviet number 5, written by Garth Ennis, art by Jason Burrows. This is one issue away, the penultimate issue of this series. Next issue is the last. And this basically where we left off our characters last time. The Russian here and Punisher had captured the guy he was trying to seek out on revenge from's wife. And in this, Punisher like turns away for a moment and she literally throws herself off a fucking cliff because she realizes that she's going to have to end up talking to these guys at this point because they've evaded the guys that were trying to save her. They took out a bunch of them last issue, and this one they were on the run from them, but they were somehow evading them. And she just knew because she's proved that she's a very smart woman that's involved in this operation in her own right.
Yeah, she's different than all the rest of the wives.
After the last issue, that was kind of established. So she kind of went and ended up, at least from what we know, killing herself. She jumped off a cliff. It didn't seem like she'd ever survive. They went searching for her, didn't find her. We didn't see a body though. But then by the end of this, they got some fire from these guys in a helicopter that, like I said, were trying to track them down. Meanwhile, the Russian just jumped out because they were hiding behind a car and they would have had to run for it. He's like, okay, I think I can do this. So he comes out and starts going full auto on them from the ground, trying to take down these guys in the helicopter, succeeds in doing so. But then by the end, you just get this full page spread of him with a fucking propeller through his body and he's done. So then the Punisher really doesn't have shit all to say to him at that moment because he's just taken down in the line of duty, right? And it seems like even like at some point in this issue, I didn't really know where Punisher stood with this character throughout all of this. But then it seemed like he made some comments in this issue either about his country or the way that they were screwed over, and situational stuff maybe with like Russia's place in the world. And it didn't seem like he agreed with a lot of it. He was kind of just like, yeah, let's get going. Like, he kind of was just like, okay, wow, whatever. Like, he kind of was, it seemed like,
brushing him off
because it was getting into politics and it was getting into, like, you know what I mean, like world views.
Yeah.
Right. So he, at this point in time, he was just assisting this guy because he was trying to seek out revenge on somebody that wronged him during the war. So it made sense. It was more of like a brothers in arms type of kind of, I can understand where you're coming from.
A means to an end.
Right. But then in this, like, he kind of started getting into his, like, you know, personal bag about, like, you know what I mean, like his outlook on things, and he was kind of just not having any of it. So by the end of this, when he got killed, though, it looks like now he's going to take it upon himself to finish the deed. At least that's what we're led to believe by the end of this. A Punisher, he might actually track him down now. But he kind of just, the issue ended with him fucking bleeding out all over the propeller. Yep. And Jason Burrows, who's done a great job on this miniseries, he can show the grotesque side of with his artwork of this kind of stuff and the ultra violence that we've seen on Avatar books that he did prior to working for Marvel. This was just great. I gave this a 5 as well. I thought it was like probably the best issue of the series thus far.
It really showed Punisher for who he is.
Here. Right. And I just like that. It just didn't lay everything out for you. Like, these are things you had to
work for.
Not work for, but like, it's not like they said, well, the Punisher didn't agree with him. Like, you had to spell it out for yourself somewhat. Yeah. Like, at least that's my impression of it, right? Like,
well, it left you to impression.
Right. So, and this has already been such a weird, different type of Punisher story. So, like, for me, it just really clicked here with this issue. Yeah. Like, and I was just like, okay, I like this a lot. So I gave it a 5. I thought it was the best issue of the series. I'm looking forward to the conclusion.
I agree. Yeah. I gave this a 5 too. I thought this was awesome. When he fucking got basically chopped in half by the propeller, I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
That sucked.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited to see how this concludes.
Yeah.
I gave this a 5 too.
Yeah.
Fucking crazy. Superman issue number 21. This is written by Brian Michael Bendis. Pencils.
Yeah, Pencils
by Ivan Reis.
You know, Pencils. Those things they used to draw.
It's a long night. This was okay.
Whoa.
I don't know. I didn't love this. So it's again, we're the aftermath of him telling his truth. He is in space. He is Earth's god, essentially, is what everybody got portrayed to.
He's fighting Mongol.
Everybody on Earth is now he said he's the king of Earth, essentially. So everyone's fucking, I'm offended by this whole news. I can think for myself. He's not my king. That's what I get from this. I don't know if that's what you get from this, but it annoys me. I thought this was okay. And obviously Lois is getting kind of the rap for his views. She goes, well, if he's the king of Earth, well, then I must be the queen of Earth. And I'm like, fuck, I'm done. I gave this a 3.
Wow.
I didn't love this issue.
Wow.
I really didn't.
I liked this issue. Wow. I think you're reading into too much of what's going on. I actually enjoyed like some of the things that, I mean, first off, Ivan Reis just killed it on fucking
The art was fantastic.
I mean, he continues to fucking kill it on this book. I think it looked great. And then what else?
I don't know what else.
I liked the moment with Lois where she was confronted by another reporter. I like that whole dialogue sequence between those two hashing it out and how she's like, she brought up the point like, oh, what? Because you've already got all the exclusives throughout your whole career as a result of Superman being your boyfriend.
Off, like,
yeah, she's right though, but she has the moral high ground at this point as a reporter to say that to her because
but then Lois turns around and she's like, I'm the queen. Right. Like,
yeah,
which just like she didn't get
I don't
knocked
know.
down a peg at all.
I gave it a 4. I thought it was a pretty solid issue. I don't think it was amazing, but I didn't like dislike it. Like it sounds like you
didn't
did.
dislike it, but there was
3 is venturing into you didn't like the issue.
Some issues
yeah,
with
yeah,
it.
yeah. Okay, fair enough. I gave it a 4.
Yeah,
right.
I just thought she was too entitled. They were too entitled in this book for me.
Hey, listen, I wasn't 100% with his decision to make this reveal of the truth and all this shit so far.
No, but
I'm
she
still
came
not
pretty quickly to being like, oh, this means I'm what
No,
to the earth.
she just doesn't. She doesn't know like the repercussions of what's about to happen.
She should.
This is all new territory for the characters. Okay.
They are married. She knew who he was.
Next
it's not
up,
like he's like, ooh.
Next up, issue 32 of Avengers, written by Jason Aaron. Written by Jason Aaron, art by Ed McGuinness. I really enjoyed this issue. I actually, I like the whole intro sequence of Namor at the bar. Basically, just
I'm gonna
like
start off by saying I did not.
Wow.
Namor looks so awful.
Why? Because his like haunch is like, or whatever you call it is. He's like in the first page is literally him just riding
like,
2 fucking sea turtles with his fucking crotch just right up in your grill as he's triumphantly he's got like some sort of seashell fucking wand that he's just waving around. He's a fucking king. Are you kidding me? He's supposed to look like a pompous asshole. It's Namor. I think you just don't understand the character.
I don't.
No. Like he's okay. I will say though, this whole Namor with the pants that we talked the fishnet pants. That's where I'm just like, okay, he would never wear pants like that. I'm like, anyways. No, but it started off with him fucking drinking at a bar.
We should have just skipped the first 2 pages and then I would have liked it.
Yeah.
After that, I was like, okay, I
fair
can
enough.
relate,
Fair enough. No, but didn't you even see the method he was using on these first 2 pages? It was like old school narrating it.
Yes.
I don't know. It was really cool to me. Like, I get it. I get where he's coming from.
I showed it to you when we read it, and I was like, why?
Look how ridiculous he looks, though. That's why I love it. No, that's why I love it, though. Who rides around on sea turtles like that? Right?
Sea turtles, save the turtles.
Yeah, they're like huge fucking turtles, dude. Oh my god. And then you cut to him drinking in a bar in the Mariana Trench. And he's like, I don't even know what the fuck he's drinking. Like algae or something, like he says it, but it's like it's some sort of weird.
You can't drink in water.
He's drinking here, though. It's hilarious. Anyways, and this is basically, in this issue, they're just rounding up all the different scenarios of villains that are going to be coming against the Avengers in this. You got the vampire scenario, where they were left off. All the different arcs in the past leading up to this where Jason Aaron didn't give you any closure on any of them. He's basically rounding up all the villains in this. Or all the people that are going to be portrayed as villains or have become villains through the things
like, you're pissed off?
Right.
Come on down.
You know, because Namor, he's been pissed off at Roxxon. Not really the Avengers, but the Avengers part in all of this type of shit. You have Roxxon in this. You have the whole...
the pollution to the waters.
Right. You have this whole Russian fucking vampire scenario. You got a baby Starbrand that's just like fucking in this, like, you know what I mean, like power, like
just infant,
insane power set, but like is a baby that they have to take care of now because the woman died in the last couple issues. And you know, you got Blade. I liked the moment between Black Widow telling like Blade he deserves to be on this team, and she's like, "Listen, I come and go, but like you deserve a spot here." And really,
that was cool.
He doesn't fucking deserve a spot here.
No.
I mean, like, yes, for his involvement in what's been happening right now.
Vampires,
listen,
like,
I love the fact that he's part of the Avengers in this, but I don't see Blade as an
like
Avenger.
His man thing, buddy.
Oh yeah, boy
That's
thing.
my favorite.
Yeah, but he's cool. But I just think like, okay, yeah, you ran out on a couple missions with them right now. Are you good enough to be there? Sure, and it's cool that he's there, but I'm like, I don't really see him as an Avenger. No. So like, I get it. The fact that she's saying that to the reader, I had to agree. I was like, I don't know if he's deserving, but yes, he's right by thinking I shouldn't be here,
Yeah.
right? Because
Do you think Boy Thing and the Baby Star brand should head off against each other?
they might. You never know. Anyways, the big reveal at the end, spoilers, is that essentially Mephisto is the one that is behind everything that's occurring right
He's
now.
the mastermind.
Yeah, all the people that these people kind of talk to in this issue that are nudging them in a certain direction, he's like kind of put himself in the mind of, like he basically took over, like the bartender that was at the bar with Namor, who was telling him like, no, you should go against the Avengers, this and that. Like it was Mephisto, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
he's planting
Agent
everything in everybody's
Coulson
head.
or whomever there was Mephisto in his head. Like he's the one like driving that whole situation, right? Or I don't know if it was Agent Coulson, but whatever agent
Yeah,
it was
they
there.
did have a Coulson in there.
Right, but I don't know if that was oh no, it was Mephisto in an earlier
Yeah.
issue. That's right. Anyways, so I like that he's the one pulling all the strings and orchestrating all this. So shit's about to go down. I think it was just a great build-up issue. McGinnis brought it. I love the Namor part, so I'm gonna give this a 5. I loved his parts.
Of course.
Yeah.
I want to give this a 4.5 just to spite the first 2 pages. Without those, it'd be a 5. And this was just a 5 for talking about it. It was a lot of fun.
There you go.
Oh, I laughed too much. The last book of the evening is Batman's Grave, issue number 6. I feel like we've read more of these than we have. This is written by Warren Ellis again, and art by Brian Hitch. This, again, I feel like we say this in every issue. The art is really good. The fight scenes are awesome. He, kills it with the fight scenes. This one, basically, you're walking through Arkham, and you're still going through all of the inmates that are set free. And by the end of it, I feel like we could just skip to there at this point. You get basically a new mystery of a CSI agent being dead. And Batman's kind of going through everything. And you're kind of finding out that he obviously knew that he was going to die. And he was doing things actively, weirdly.
Yeah, Batman was doing his CSI thing that he's been doing in this series by basically trying to be the person in the position.
Yeah.
And he has suspected that this man was able to figure out his own murderer prior to him getting himself killed.
Batman needs to now think of what he was doing.
Right. Because Gordon mentioned, this man lived in the most secure household I've ever seen. There's no way that someone would have...
was broken into.
Right.
Just the little detail, the second half, or I guess almost the end, the last quarter of this was regarding this new murder.
Yeah.
And that alone, because the first basically 3/4 was fighting through Arkham. And then you get to the fact that this CSI had died. And just the kind of things that Batman has to pick up on in his own detective skills to realize that the CSI knew who his own murderer was, I thought was really cool. And just the little things that they kind of set up in this. And now he has to, literally it ends on did you solve your own murder? So I'm excited to see again next issue. Yeah. So I gave this one a 4. I really liked it.
I also gave it that. Yeah, I think I like the second half more so than the wrap up of the Arkham.
Well, it's always setups, yeah.
But the startup of this new mystery was really intriguing, and my favorite part always about these issues is the couple of pages that you get of him talking with Alfred.
Yes.
Because in this, Alfred basically said to him he does not believe in his vigilantism and that he should just kill these people.
Yeah.
Right where he essentially
just write it off
because he told them about one of his stories back in his war days or secret agent days, whatever. He worked for the Secret Service for England or Britain or wherever the fuck he's from. So he tells him a story about that where basically he found some guy after he killed a bunch of children, and he's like, well, what did he do? He's like, I put a fucking bullet in his head, essentially, right? He's just and he makes a comment as he walks off of their conversation that he basically should cut these things off like right away, like these people that he's allowing to be out there. I forgot what exactly he said, but basically
The details of it, yeah.
yeah, he was letting him know you should like
this shouldn't be off the table. Killing
Right.
should not be off the table.
right. He doesn't agree with the way he does things, like in his
The justice system doesn't always
Right.
work in your favor.
right. Which is
For-
always that is an ongoing theme in Batman,
Yes.
but just to hear him so strongly talk
Yeah,
about
for
it
Alfred to say it, it's weird.
again, I think he probably has expressed that at some point during the millions of other Batman
Yeah.
comics, but I just think that he always writes those scenes between those two, like their actual dialogue back and forth is always really
Yeah,
good, those scenes.
I
so.
agree.
Okay, so that does it
Ooh,
for
we're at
this
the end
week.
of the night.
Kind of a little bit all over the place this week, actually.
was.
We did get a few fives as well, but I mean, like...
Quite a few fives.
Yeah,
still.
but also quite a few
Out of
other
12.
ratings here, yeah.
Out of 12, you had half fives.
Yeah, which I didn't expect going
I
into
had
this, to be
4.
honest with you. I actually think through conversation of some of these, I actually ended up
swayed?
enjoying them. Yeah.
Ooh, I'm a good conversationalist then.
Well, it was more the things I said, not the things you said. I'm just joking, but
Trying to give myself a gold
no,
star
no,
over
just
here.
because again, it's been a couple days since I've read some
I
of
know.
these. Sometimes talking about it, I was like, you know what, I did really like
Yeah.
that, So,
No, I know.
I think I got to go with Punisher Soviet number 5, though. My very, very close runner-up, I want to mention this, is Spider-Man. I thought I was going to give it to Spider-Man, but I really connected with this Punisher issue, and being that the Punisher is a favorite character of mine, and I don't think I've rewarded it. This whole series, I've just been giving like mostly 4s to. I'm just like, yeah, it's good, it's good. This was a really good issue, though. It kind of clicked with me, and I'm looking forward to the last one now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Punisher Soviet number 5 is my favorite of the week.
I want to say Boom Boom Forever, but she wasn't in it enough for me to give it to it.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, she was in the last arc more so,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
I know. I loved her part in this.
She's
Like,
great.
The first 2 pages in this
Yeah.
New Mutants or her pages in
Yeah.
it were just so fucking good.
Yeah,
I'll give it to your second one because that was my other
nice.
one.
I'm glad
The
it's being
Amazing
represented.
Spider-Man.
Yeah.
It
Very
was
good.
so good.
It was.
And again, like I love these characters.
So do I.
So I'm just making that known here. It's not because he fucking likes them.
If this wasn't the standout issue of this miniseries, Punisher Soviet, so far for me, it would go to Spider-Man.
Well, these were the 2 that I've been
New
going
Mutants
back.
and Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, there you have it, guys. By the time this drops tomorrow or I guess Friday for you guys, if you are hearing this on the day of, there'll be another one of these hopefully a couple of days.
Monday, hopefully.
Yeah, coming out a couple of days later. So check back for that. And stay tuned for announcements coming from us and kind of what we plan on doing in the interim until all this shit hopefully blows over soon,
Maybe
guys.
we can do some random shit on like Instagram for just boredom quarantine
Yeah.
entertainment.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, so stay tuned and thanks for tuning in as always. And if you are a fan of this show, please let us know over social medias where you do see these shows posted. If you can, we'd like to hear from you.
And if there's any constructive criticism or anything
Yep.
that you'd like to see from us, let us know.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no.
Especially with the weeks to come when we are kind of possibly on a hiatus-ish type
changing
random.
up the format, yeah, or something, right? But again, stay safe and healthy out there, guys, and we'll see you
Wash
guys
your
next
hands.
time. Later.